We flew in the day before. Our driver got a little lost in Port Everglades, but we finally made it to Port Bohr, where the Disney Cruise Line terminal lives. And now the time has come, the very first day, Embarkation Day, for our very first cruise ever, where we're sailing with the Disney Cruise Line on the Disney Dream. The Disney Cruise Line terminal only recently opened in Port Everglades in the fall of 2023, and now it's only one of 2 Disney home ports in the world. Thankfully, we arrived pretty close to our port arrival time as we were dropped off. So in we went, and we were greeted with the typical Disney experience, lining up to get into the terminal. We made this waiting time pretty useful. So we were pretty close enough to the ship where we were able to log on to the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app with the onboard Wi-Fi. You could use the app to schedule activities or reservations. It has all the dining menus, activities, or interactive deck plans in case you find yourself a little lost. Most importantly, the app has a chat feature where you can use to communicate real time with your travel party. And you can get real-time notifications about announcements or any changes to the itinerary. Once we were on, we were greeted with all of the activities. And here I was able to heart or add to favorites all the things that I wanted to do. At this time, there was some availability for dinner at the Palo restaurant for $50 per person, but I opted not to book it because this is my very first Disney cruise experience. I just wanted to go through all the rotational dining that was already included in the price. As far as checking in goes, we had a port arrival time of 12:15, but it didn't seem to matter as other people with later port arrival times were lining up anyways. So maybe all the rules and strictness from COVID doesn't really apply anymore. This was my experience at the end of April 2024. If you've embarked from Port Everglades after that, chime in. Let me know how your experience went, because I really don't know if my experience was a fluke or not. Once we got into the terminal, in typical Disney fashion, we got into another line to check in. Since we were first-time cruisers, we didn't get into like the fast pass lane that my sister and her family did because they've been on Disney cruises before, and once you've been on a Disney cruise, you'll be known as Castaway Club members, and it happens automatically. They got into the fast line, and then we got into the longer line. After about shuffling in line for about 30 to 40 minutes, it wasn't short at all, we finally got checked in. We went through the metal detectors, we got our picture taken, we walked through a giant Mickey Mouse gate. We got greeted by Carl here. We were in awe of looking at the ship through the gangway. And we finally got our welcome.
Disney Dream, please welcome aboard Adam.
Once we were on board, my parents and I were starving. And although they really wanted to go to Cabanas, which is the self-service buffet on deck 11, they really wanted to eat crab legs. Asians, am I right? But instead we walked through this long hallway to get to the welcome lunch at the Animator's Palette. I figured it would be less hectic than the buffet, and it'd just give us a little bit of time to just catch our breath. So that is a tip. If you want to avoid the crowds at Cabanas, especially on the first day, they'll designate a sit-down restaurant for breakfast and lunch. Upon entering the Animator's Palette, I was blown away by the decor and the theming of the restaurant. So the number one reason why I pick a certain vacation is so I could eat. I vacation basically to eat. That is my number one priority. This is also when what I like to call my second stomach comes out, but only in vacations. I don't normally eat that much, but when I'm in vacation mode, I eat everything. And the Animator's Palette was a fabulous introduction to Disney Cruise Line food. My dad and I ordered the sliced roasted beef sirloin. My mom got the panette pasta. And my husband, Adam, got the grilled salmon salad. I ordered the steak cooked medium and it was just right, so beefy and unctuous. Adam thought his salmon was good, well seasoned and not fishy, but a little bit on the dry side. And my parents also both enjoyed their meal. We all decided to pass on dessert because we really wanted to get ahead and explore the ship. So after lunch, we went to the decks 11 and 12 of the Disney Dream just to get in the views. We found Donald in one of the funnels and noticed the aqueduct was already running. The aqueduct is what Disney Imagineers called a water coaster. It's over 765 feet in length, goes down 4 decks, and can get as fast as 20 feet per second. I did pack a bathing suit with my carry-on since it was recommended by all of the videos I watched in case you wanted to ride the aqueduct without really long lines. But there was just way too much to see that it just didn't cross my mind. At the topmost deck, I was actually really shocked. We really were on a floating resort. So we took in the views and waved hello to all the mansions around the port. My parents were already enjoying themselves. Later, we met up with my sister's family in the Oceaneers Club, and this is where I found my nephew creeping on Woody, who was out at that time, and we actually convinced him to take a picture with us. And even though he looked kind of scared, and I think he just would not leave Woody alone. He was just there, staring the whole time. After that, we finally went to check out our staterooms, unpack, and decorate the door. The cabin doors and the walls and the ceilings are made of metal, so you could hang magnetic decor or hooks on them. For my pick, I went with a mini theme decoration. Adam and I had an inside stateroom, cabin number 9603. A more detailed cabin tour is going to be posted in a future date. It actually might be a short because it's a tiny cabin. It's really not that much to see. But if you're interested, subscribe if you want to see it. When we finished unpacking, it was time for the muster drill. Let's just say it was interesting. I'm not sure how it's supposed to go, but there's just way too many people to even hear what the cast members were saying. But we were able to take some nice selfies and hear some test beeps. I guess. After the muster drill, we ran all the way to the top deck so we could get a good spot for the sailing away party. And with that, the ship was sailing out of Port Everglades. While the dance party was going on, I was able to sneak in a little bit of duck hiding. Can you find it? I brought some rubber ducks along with me to do some cruise ducking. Apparently it's a known thing amongst cruisers where people hide these rubber ducks for other guests to find just to have a little bit of fun. This is really silly, but I brought with me like 50 ducks, so I had to start hiding them really early. While the dance party was still going on, we explored a bit and found ourselves at the Cove Bar for some adult beverages as we were sailing away. It was a very magical moment. After that, there wasn't much time to rest before we had to get ready for dinner at the Royal Palace. The Royal Palace is part of one of 3 themed restaurants on the Disney Dream that is part of the rotational dining program. I really like the idea of rotational dining. It gives us an opportunity to try out all of the themed restaurants on board. On top of that, our waitstaff will rotate with us each night. This allows them to get to know us, get to know our preferences, any allergies we might have, and just better cater to our needs. This is just one of those thoughtful details I think Disney does really well to make sure that service is really high quality. To manage the crowds and the capacity, Disney will give you a choice of an earlier dining time, usually around 5:45, or a later dining time, usually around 8:15, until one of the dining times run out. The earlier dining time tends to have more families because apparently children need to be fed before they go off to bed, and there was a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old in my travel party. We opted to go for the earlier dining time so that we could accommodate them. In our cruise party, we had 8 people and were assigned to table 98. This table number will always be our dining table number for the duration of the cruise, no matter which restaurant we go to. The table was set with napkins folded into these adorable little suits. The Royal Palace paid homage to the Disney princesses, so it was perfect for the theme. The menu had a lot to offer my cruise party. We had 2 kids, 6 adults, all with different tastes, preferences, and some with dietary restrictions. For tonight's dinner, Adam got the farmhouse salad and I got the duck confit for the appetizer. The duck confit was super yummy. It was earthy, savory, and a little sweet. I do want to note that it is served cold. My dad got the same thing and he wasn't a fan because he doesn't do cold food. For our main course, I got the Chateaubriand roasted steak fillet. Adam got the conchiglie pasta, which is a fancy name for the lobster pasta. And together we shared the vegetarian wild mushroom stuffed pasta in vegetable broth. I admit the steak was kind of meh, but the wild mushroom pasta was delicious. There was also a little bit of drama here since Adam really did not like the lobster pasta, so he barely touched it. He thought the tarragon was just too overpowering and couldn't taste the lobster or anything else really. And as a testament to the quality of service there, our head server, Rex, noticed Adam didn't like the pasta. We had to coax him a little bit to order something else because he didn't really want to inconvenience the staff, but we finally got him to order the oven-baked fillet of salmon, and he raved about how delicious it was. Of course, I got a little taste as well, and I have to agree. And honestly, I thought people were exaggerating about the service in all the Disney cruise videos I've watched, but it is no exaggeration. The staff here was wonderful. They paid so much attention to detail. It was just second to none. The dessert menu was a little invitation of sorts. It was just more little cute details like this. It's just amazing. And from watching other people's videos, I knew I had to order the Grand Mariniere Soufflé and the Tahitian Vanilla Creme Brulee. I felt like the soufflé was a bit too sweet for my taste, which might have been because of the creme anglaise, but my sister really enjoyed it. However, I loved the creme brulee. The textures were perfect. It was not overly sweet. I could have eaten another one of these. And I know, what about the other people? I had 8 people in my party. We had a table of 2 kids and 6 adults who ordered multiple dishes, but I don't want to bombard you with everybody's dinner selection. It would make this video way too long, so I will document what the rest of my family got and how they felt about it in another mega food video. So stay tuned for that. I'm getting hungry thinking about it already. After dinner, we went back to our cabin to be greeted with our first towel animal. It was a penguin. It was really cute. I knew going into the cruise that there would be towel animals, so it wasn't really a surprise to me, but I was actually just really delighted at how surprised I was upon receiving it. We didn't have much time to rest since dinner kind of went late with a party that big, but we still had time to get ready for Disney's Broadway-style show, The Golden Mickeys, which is held at the Walt Disney Theater. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to film it, but I promise you it was very entertaining and I really enjoyed it. I recommend The Golden Mickeys to anyone who likes tribute-style shows with songs and dances that you could sing along to. And with that, it's the end of my first day of my very first Disney cruise, and I will see you tomorrow.